and it says, or where there is a merger. So they put full stop at the first. If they fail, they put it at the second. They will never go to the third. So that is it. So what I'm saying, a legislator will lose his seat if there is no faction or merger in his party. And we have had situations in the current National Assembly where members of a Labour Party which doesn't have any crisis or a merger have cross-carpeted to these parties. Nobody raised an eyebrow, maybe because PDP was gaining. Now that PDP is losing, it has now decided to punctuate, put comma and full stop in the constitution.
You may not have been able to establish the fact that there is a crisis in the party, because
but I can establish
the case in court, in the case of the new PDP, which you belong to before now, the court has ruled it out. There is nothing like new PDP.
Thank you very much. I have read that judgment, and you see that is part of the propaganda. It's about 70-80 page document. I have read it. And what the court said is that it recognizes the faction of Bamanga Tukur, and that Baraje should no longer parade himself as the chairman of PDP. That's what the court said. The court never said, I read it 3 times. The court never said there is no faction in PDP.
Which invariably, presupposes that if the court has asked Baraje not to parade himself as the leader of a party, of the faction which you belong to, that means the split is not founded.
Thank you. You
so
see,
what is the split? Based on what the Constitution provides, that you can only move to save your seat if there is a split or a crisis, which the court has validated that there is no crisis in the party.
Yeah, that is a misunderstanding. In fact, that case strengthens our case, our matter, because the court says it recognizes the faction of Bamanga Tukur, which I want you to think deep, which means there is a faction, but one faction is recognized. Like the Hausa man will say, you are leading a blind man, and you said there is no ditch. Then the blind man said, we've been coming over 1 mile. Why didn't you tell me there's no ditch? He said there is a ditch. So the court is saying I only recognize this faction. By that statement, it means there are other factions, or at least 2 factions, but I recognize this. Because if there are no factions, there is no point for the court to say, I recognize Bamanga Tukur's faction. And what section 68(1)G is saying is because where there is a faction that is not recognized, 68(1)G is triggered where there is a faction that is not recognized. Where all factions are recognized, like where Baraje's PDP has gone to INEC to get registration, 68(1)G will not be triggered. But where there is a faction that is too small or too unwilling to go and seek INEC registration or cannot be registered, then 68(1)G will be triggered, because these people have right of association. So they will now be allowed to merge with a bigger party. And for God's sake, even if there is no crisis, the Constitution further provides there is a merger. The question I need to put to these people is that, please, is there a merger between Baraje's faction and APC? If they say no, then this whole noise can continue.
You know, the confusion here is that the court has invalidated Baraje's leadership in every sense of it, with that judgment. So Baraje and his people or his followers do not exist as far as the court is concerned.
Yes.
So with what the provision of the law says, 1G of Nigerian 1999 Constitution as amended says, provided that his membership of the later political party is not as a result of a division in the political party of which he was previously a member, or of a merger of 2 or more political parties or factions, by one of which he was previously sponsored. The court has invalidated Baraje and his faction. That means it does not exist. So where does the issue of merger come from? Is a wrong notion.
That is exactly why we're saying that is the misunderstanding. The Constitution says where a faction not necessarily recognized. Read it very well.
Read
it. The Constitution didn't say that faction must be recognized, and I said that is the letter of the Constitution.
So with all of this, listen, Honorable Ahmed, this is actually, don't you think that you're sitting on a keg of gunpowder as far as your membership and your colleagues with Defected is concerned, in the sense that this is based on the interpretation and judgment of the court. Don't you think you're at the verge of losing your seats?
Far from it. That is why...
Even as your party has declared your seats vacant.
Very far from it.
Planning to declare it vacant.
That is why I said there is the letter of the Constitution and there is the jurisprudence of this. You see, by the time this party finishes with Nigeria, it will not only affect the political spectrum, it will affect even the judicial, and that is dangerous. In judicial practice, we have what we call stare decisis. That is, if a court has decided a matter previously, the later court should follow that decision. And that we say, what is now the jurisprudence of cross-carpeting? The Supreme Court has held in Goni and Fedeco. This is not a matter that has not gone to court. This section has gone to court and Supreme Court has analyzed it. The Supreme Court said, look, that faction doesn't need to be a recognized faction. Because during that case, the Governor Goni was in GNPP and the GNPP got factionalized into two, Waziri Ibrahim and his own. And Fedeco did not recognize his own. Fedeco recognized Waziri Ibrahim. And Fedeco said, Mr. Man, you cannot contest. He went up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said Section 68(1)(g) was put there because your party, your faction was not recognized. So if a faction is not recognized, it triggers Section 68(1)(g). Then you can march.
Okay. There is a very, very grave and very as an issue that is giving a lot of us concern, and is the fact that you people, we understand that you are, in fact, your ultimate plan is to impeach President Jonathan. Why would you want to do so?
Well, I said it, I've heard it, that and my information is that these people go to the villa and said, look, somebody is planning on impeachment. But I can tell you that I don't know tomorrow. But from 2011 up to the last time we vacated, nobody is talking about. This is not to say that nobody will. We all bound by the Constitution. But you see, this thing hasn't happened, and then they pushing it as if it's happening. So somebody is benefiting somewhere. And you see, these people should come down to face reality. This is a political problem. It's not a judicial. You can run to court. The courts can't solve this problem.
That's what the thoughts are, Honorable Ahmad. We're going for a short break, and when we come back, well, I guess you people are also thinking and talking about the same issue that we were talking about here in the studio. But when we come back, we'll talk more on this and many more on the program tonight. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ask yourself, what does everyone want in life? 1, quality. You should never compromise on quality. I never do. 2, speed. You think fast, so you want your data connection to be even faster. And of course, everyone wants to be appreciated. Like free roaming. Now you can receive all your calls for free every time you travel. And enjoy free calls on your birthday to call anyone you want. It's our way of saying we appreciate you because you deserve it.
Introducing Etisalat Gem. Join the Etisalat network today and enjoy amazing rewards.
Etisalat, now you're talking.
You see, life has just got easier. You stay connected to Channels TV, where news and innovations are shaping our world. Simply log on to channelstv.com to get the breaking news. Browse the homepage according to what matters to you. Tap on the extended coverage of business, sports, politics, lifestyle, infotech, entertainment, health, world news, and lots more. Click on the live link and see the news in real time. Do you want to watch the latest video of the day? It's just a click away. Friend us on Facebook, YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Google+, participate in Channels TV poll,